Hi guys. So this is probably going to be the last vlog where I have long hair for a while because I'm actually going to get that cut in like 30 minutes. Right now it's like noon on Friday. My birthday! Lots of stuff comes out on my birthday and happens on my birthday. A little weird. But we got some Fallout 4 news. I'll get into that in just a second. Before I get into that, I just want to give you guys an update on the computer situation, why there hasn't been gameplay videos. The computer works, but, of course, with my luck, there was a problem, and it looks like the only part that died from my previous build may have been my hard drive with all my videos. Yeah. So we're trying everything that we can right now, a bunch of different programs and stuff like that to try and recover those videos. Because there was hours of videos on that hard drive. But it's looking like we might not be able to, which sucks because I had already finished Katawa Shouju with Hanako, and I was like halfway through Katawa Shouju with Lily, so that's really annoying. And I don't want to start those over again. So that'll probably just be yet another series that doesn't get finished. Okay. Now on to the Fallout 4 news. Finally, there was some Fallout 4 news I could actually talk about because it wasn't ridden with spoilers. Because, as I've said before, I'm not listening to Fallout 4 news just because I don't want any spoilers at all, no matter how minor. I don't want a list of companions even. Like, no spoilers at all. But today, there was some news about the recommended specs. Well, actually, it was yesterday. There was some news about the recommended specs for the PC version, and also how large the download's going to be. Also, when it unlocks to be available to download. Across the board, pretty good news all around. I have some little notes so I can read. So I at least, have some info for you guys. So it unlocks at midnight on November 10th, which is good. It's what most people were assuming that it would, which means that so far, my plan for downloading the game at midnight, playing the game, getting videos recorded, edited, and rendered, and getting my first Fallout 4 video up at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on November 10th, all of that's going according to plan. Yet another thing that's going to make that easier is it was released how large the file is going to be, how big the game is going to be to download, and it's looking like it's only going to be 30 gigabytes, which is fantastic because I think most people thought that it would be a lot bigger, in the 50 and the 60 gigabytes after we've seen games like Battlefield 4 and Titanfall and stuff like that. But it's looking like somehow they managed to pack 400 hours of content, or however much they said, is in the game, into 30 gigabytes. I don't know how they did it, but I'm happy that they did, because that's pretty great. It means most people will be able to slap it on an SSD and have even faster load times, so you won't have to worry about, seeing those load screens when you go in and out of buildings, stuff like that. Really great news. Obviously, they have also said that there's going to be a lot of free updates with a lot of free content. So that is going to get bigger, but initially out of the gate, you're only going to need 30 gigabytes. And that's not with any DLC, like paid DLC and stuff, which I'm sure is going to add quite a bit. So now into the specs, the meat of this reveal, all right? The big thing, the reason that a lot of people were like, I'm not pre-ordering this game yet on PC because I don't know how it will run. We've had a lot of bad PC specs recently. We've had a lot of lies for PC specs where people say that you need a really high system and then you don't. We've had a lot of deceit in that area lately. Or just stupid requirements that make no sense, such as the Call of Duty series requiring 12 gigabytes of RAM to even run the game. Oh no, it was 6. It's like 6 gigabytes of RAM. I don't know what it was to even run the game. Like, it wouldn't open if you didn't have that. So stupid requirements like that. Let's get into those. I'm not going to say the specific requirements. You can look those up if you want. I know most of my fan base, they're not like, you're not going to be able to say, this processor, the AMD Phenom 2 X4 965 or whatever, and they'll be like, oh yeah, that's 3.4 gigahertz. Like, most of you guys don't know this stuff, which is fine. So let's get into that. Across the board, you need 8 gigabytes of RAM. I don't know if that's going to be to run the game like Call of Duty did it, where the game won't like run at all if you don't have 8 gigabytes. If so, people with laptops are kind of shit out of luck, because most laptops don't have 8 gigabytes of RAM unless you're buying like a gaming laptop. I know a lot of people who tried running, they played Skyrim and stuff like that, and their laptop had like 4 gigabytes of RAM. That's not going to cut it this time. Even the minimum requirements are 8 gigabytes of RAM. The good news about that is that the recommended requirement is also 8 gigabytes of RAM. So it looks like you only need 8 gigabytes of RAM. I don't know if you're going to be able to play the game without it. I don't know if it's just going to be a big performance, decrease if you have less than that, or if the game just won't run. It's a possibility that the game just won't run. That's not a problem, guys. Go out. It's like 60, 70 bucks right now to get 8 gigabytes of RAM. Go out, buy some shitty RAM that's like 70 bucks. Plug that into a computer, you're good to go. There's no excuse now for not having 8 gigabytes of RAM. Honestly, there isn't. It's cheap as hell. Go out and get that. Another thing is that even in the minimum requirements, the processors that are required are all quad core. That's actually a pretty big thing, because not a lot of games actually use quad core CPUs. Usually in games, you're using 2 of the cores in a CPU. They're doing all the front loading. They're doing everything. And then the other 2 or other 4 or however many cores, they're kind of just sitting back like chilling. And they might come in every now and then and help out. But since even the minimum requirements have a quad-core CPU, it's reasonable to expect that this Fallout 4 will actually use more cores in your CPU. I don't know if you're not going to be able to run the game at all if you have a dual-core CPU, but honestly, if you have a dual-core CPU, man, that is so old. Honestly, when I built my first computer, it had a quad-core CPU that was only like 90 bucks. So, I mean, honestly, it's okay that we're moving away. We're moving away from the dual core CPU, but that's just something to note, that if you have a laptop or an old desktop and it only has 2 gigabytes, 2 cores on the CPU, it might not work. So far you're going to need those 8 gigabytes of RAM for sure, and you're going to probably need 4-core CPU. Nothing crazy here, guys. These specs aren't crazy. Something that is crazy, though, is the disparity between AMD graphics cards and NVIDIA graphics cards. The recommended, so for the minimum graphics cards...
Mommy! Mommy!
Oh, that's great. That's great. Here, let's go talk to my mom real quick and tell her, hey, 1 second. Let's do that, okay? Let's do that. 1 second! Alright. That worked. We're going to get my haircut, like I said. But I gotta get this video done because I have a busy day since it is my birthday today. So, now that we're back in the video studio, the minimum graphics cards that they recommend, they have like an alright NVIDIA graphics card that's, it's alright, and then they have a significantly more powerful AMD graphics card for the minimum requirements. Then you look at the recommended system requirements, and it's the exact same story. They have an okay NVIDIA graphics card, and then they have just at least 40% faster, better AMD graphics card. What a lot of people are speculating about that is this is going to be one of those games where NVIDIA cards just play it better. you see this a lot of the time in games where they're like constantly, when you boot it up, it says NVIDIA, the way it's meant to be played. Those games, the games that have PhysX and stuff like that, that's exclusive to NVIDIA. You see it a lot of times that, it'll be like a 20% or a 30% better performance on a NVIDIA card versus an AMD card. It's looking like that's going to be the scenario for Fallout 4. I don't believe they've said that there's going to be PhysX or any like cool physics or anything like that yet. But I wouldn't be surprised if it comes out and they're just like, yeah, this is a NVIDIA game. Just because the comparisons are night and day. They recommend one card for NVIDIA, which is, it's a decent card, It's not a bad card. It's probably like a, couple $100 card. And then they throw in an AMD card that's like $100 more and 40% more powerful. And it's like, what the... What? So, that's what it's looking like. It's looking like if you have a NVIDIA card, you're going to be good to go. And guess what? I am buying. I haven't bought it yet because it's expensive as hell. I'm buying a 980 Ti for it. So, I'm going to be set to go. Another thing is that the CPUs for the recommended are insanely high. The recommended CPU for the Intel side is an i7-4790. Take that in for a second. Yeah, that processor that I got, that I was like, this is the top of the line processor? Sorry, I just randomly got decongested. I don't know what I just got. It was weird. That processor that I got though, and I was like, this is the best processor. Yeah, the i7 4790. Yeah. Or maybe it was the 4690 that they put. Either way, an i7 4690K. That is a really good processor, and the fact that that's recommended is a little scary. Just because I don't know, like, how intensive this is going to be. But that's a little scary. I do have the better version, though. They recommend the 3.6 gigahertz version. I have the 4790K, which is the 4.0 gigahertz, and you can also overclock it if I need to, which I shouldn't, or else that'll be weird. But let's just debrief on all of this. The debrief for this is, if you were planning on just picking up, Fallout 4 for like a laptop you have sitting around or an old desktop, you need to look into upgrading in the next 30 days, because that's not gonna cut it for this game. This game is not going to be like Fallout 3 or Fallout New Vegas or Skyrim or Oblivion, where you can kind of just run it, on like anything. You can just run it. Maybe you'll get like 20 frames per second, but you can run it. This sounds like if you're not meeting those requirements, you're not running it at all. Nothing. So, it's looking like a lot of people will probably get this on consoles just because of that reason. Which makes me really scared, because if it's actually hard to run, and get good frame rates, if we can trust these specs that they said, how's it gonna be after mods, guys? How's it gonna be after we have these EMBs that are making the graphics 3 times better and improving the lighting? Like, how is that going to be? What kind of computer are we gonna need for that? That's ridiculous. But it's also the future. The future. Alright. Well, I'm gonna go get my hair cut, and I'm not going to my hairstylist, so it'll probably look like shit. But oh well, because I need it cut. So, hopefully you guys enjoyed the birthday vlog. It was about Fallout, so, you probably did. And there was actually some news I could talk about that wasn't filled with spoilers. But I hope hopefully you guys enjoy your Friday, you enjoy your weekend, you enjoy Korean Alphabet Day, or whatever the hell it is today. And I'll see all of you guys in the next video. Bye!